It works, no, it's okay, Xavier. I automatically go into public speaking voice. So I don't want to blast anybody. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Zoning Appeals for this Monday, July 24th, 2023. We'll begin with the reading of the preamble.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Liz Kukla. I'm going to read the preamble for you this morning. In compliance with notification requirements of the city's open meeting law in section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976. Notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the city planning department conducts its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raise hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. Please note that calling users can unmute by using *6. All meeting activity is being recorded via the WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube for public view. We've provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak on a particular case via our website and email. All requests to speak on a particular matter have been considered. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comment on a particular matter. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Great. Would you like to call a roll, please?
Sure. Ms. Wilson?
Present.
Ms. Holzer?
Present.
Ms. Roca?
Present.
Ms. Faith?
I am here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum with 4.
Excellent. All right. Any postponements or withdrawals?
We have no postponements or withdrawals this morning.
Wow. All right. Okay. Xavier, do we have any council people present?
I do not see anything.
All right. Ms. Hulsel, we'll start with the top of our agenda then, 23-113.
Sounds good. Good morning, everyone. Our first case is calendar number 23-113. This is at 1364 West 73rd Street. Scott Royer proposes to change use from a single family residence to a 2-family residence in a B1 2-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there are 4. And with that, I'm assuming that I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Roca for the oath, but let me know if that has since changed.
Are you good with that?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Great. I will start with anyone who's on the call. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply, I do, state your name and your address. Is there anyone on the call? No? Is there anyone in the room? You want to come forward?
Yes.
Just need you to state I do, state your name and your address.
I do. Scott Royer, 1364 West 73rd Street.
Great.
You can have a seat, Scott. At the table if you'd like.
Sorry.
We've yet to bite anyone.
Okay.
All right. Excellent. We've had the oath.
Ready for the history, Madam Chair?
Yes, ready for the history.
Madam Chair, there's been no change in the zoning since 1929 for this address. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1970, a permit was issued to install siding to walls of a dwelling. Madam Chair, there was a chain link fence erected in 1983. And then in the more recent history, we see alterations regarding re-roofing in 2011. replacement of a door 2015. And I believe that's all that we have for that. And then there are no variances on file for this address. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Okay, great. Okay, Scott, would you like to tell us what you'd like to do, please?
Yeah, so I purchased the home,
Oops, excuse me.
Oh.
We have legal standard and we're missing our person to read our legal standard.
No, I'm here.
Oh, are you here? Okay, great. Awesome.
All right,
Go-
Madam Chair,
please.
Madam Chair, members of the Board, Appellant is requesting area variances from parking, minimum lot size, minimum lot width, and maximum gross floor area requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Great, thank you. All right. Now, Scott, you'd like to tell us what you'd like to do?
yeah, so I purchased the home as it's zoned as a two-family. Its use type was currently being used as a single-family home. And my intention is to, just basically turn it back into a two-family where an owner occupied, so I live on the top floor and then rent out the bottom floor. And I was unaware that there was, these issues with the parking. And then the lot size, it is what it is, can't change the lot size. So
Right,
when I submitted my plans for the building permit, these issues came up, so,
you got flagged when you went to building and housing?
yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long have you owned the home?
I purchased it in February this year.
Okay. All right. Was it being used as a two-family when you got it, or
No, ma'am, it was currently being used as a single family.
single family? Okay, all right. Board, any questions?
You're just renovating the interior to make it a two-family.
Correct, yeah, I'm going to do a complete remodel of hopefully both units. So the only work, I'm not doing any exterior work except for cutting in a second egress door for the top unit so I can meet all my egress codes. So that's basically it. It'd just be an interior renovation of the whole home.
And then with regard to parking, do you have a driveway?
Well, the driveway is currently there now. It's 12 feet wide by 66 feet long. But that's what's existing. I mean, the lot size is pretty narrow. So I mean, I could widen it, maybe potentially lengthen it if I'm required to, but there's not much else room there.
What's the width of the house?
It's about 23, 20, or the back is 25, the front's a little narrower. I think the front's like 23, 22. Yeah.
And you're on a 40-foot lot. Yeah, you don't have a whole lot of room there.
No.
12 feet standard width for a drive, so. Do you have any plans for doing a garage in the back?
No, ma'am, I don't believe there's room. But I wasn't planning on doing anything in the back.
So
Okay.
just street parking then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's plenty of street parking there now on West 73rd, so
Yeah.
I've just been parking on the street currently, so.
Mhm. Okay. Anyone else? Ms. Holzer, Ms. Wilson, any questions or comments?
No questions from me, thank you.
None
right.
for me.
All right, thank you. City planning?
Hello, my name is Xavier Bay, Senior Assistant City Planner in zoning section. We recommend approval for this project. Administration is a density initiative, and there's already some density coming into this neighborhood, so it's sensible, for this density, like for more units to come in. There is a bus line that goes down Detroit Avenue to the 22, which eventually connects to the Red Line at the West Boulevard station. So there is some access to transit locally. So we would recommend approval of the project.
Exactly. So the only thing you might want to do, Scott, is, because as Xavier pointed out, there's a density initiative for this particular neighborhood,
Okay.
which means more housing, and a leniency with the parking restriction. So, and you've got public transit close by. So the only thing you might want to do is put a small bike rack in the back for your tenant,
Okay.
because we're making those allowances for people who use active transit.
Okay.
Okay. All right, board, I'll entertain a motion.
So
I can
based,
do it. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
so based on the testimony that we've heard today, I would move to approve this request.
Second, please.
Board Member Roca
Board Member
seconds.
Holzer.
Oh,
All right, everyone's
Taking over
jumping
everyone's
in
minute.
this morning.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. All right, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Kukla, will you call the roll?
Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Ms. Roca,
yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Bates.
Yes.
Calendar number 23-113 is granted. It'll be ratified next week when we meet again, and then we will send the appellants a letter.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you so
Good
much.
luck.
Best of
to you.
luck to
Thank
you.
you.
thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you so much.
All right, next case, Ms. Holzer, 23-114.
Our next case is calendar number 23-114. This is at 12301 Sprecher Avenue. Camus Properties LLC owner proposes to erect a freestanding sign in a B2 general industry district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Roca for the oath.
Can we go to that screen? Thank you. I'll start with individuals on the phone or on the call. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply, I do, state your name and your address.
I do. I'm Laura Higgins Wema, 4811 Van Epps Road, Cleveland, Ohio, 44131.
I do. John McCray, Brilliant Sign, 4811 Van Epps Road, Cleveland, Ohio, 44131.
I do.
Melissa-
Jack Maxwell, Brilliant Electric Sign Company, 4811 Van Epps Road in Cleveland, Ohio.
Melissa Miller Sedlock, Jefferson Purtis West Park CDC, 14703 Purtis Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio.
I do. Chris Camus, managing member of Camus Properties LLC.
A lot of people on the call. Is there anyone in person?
No one in.
Madam Chair?
All right. History of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 1971, a permit was issued to erect a factory and a warehouse. In 1973, a permit was issued to erect storage and office. In our more recent history, we found in 2015, a permit was issued to install 309 linear feet of 6-foot-high chain link fence with 3 strands of barbed wire. There are no variances on file, and that's all that we have for this address. Thank you.
Thank you. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting area variances from the sign requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you. Who's going to be the spokesperson for the project team?
I will. This is John McCray.
Let me remind you, since we have a number of people on here, we do have a court reporter. She's not present in the room with us, but she is online. So when you speak, please preface your statement by stating your name. All right?
And spelling.
And the spelling of your name. Thank you. Okay. John, go ahead.
Yes, we're proposing to have a highway visible pole sign at the location. It's double-sided, it's internally illuminated. It's in keeping with proper sizing for this to be a visible sign. The sign's intention is purely for the 480 traffic. That sign is roughly, and that depiction, so you know, the artwork on that depiction has slightly changed so that the copy basically is pretty close to the top all the way to the bottom. It's a different layout. And if the board members would like to see that, I can share that with you.
We would, please.
Okay, let's take a look here. Oh, can't share content unless the host or co-host makes you a presenter.
We don't allow them.
Email it.
We are unable to allow people to
Okay.
control the screen. He can email it to us.
If you can email that to us, John, please.
Yes, we will do that. Here I have Jack doing that. So to continue on the presentation, the sign again is 150 total square feet, 10 foot by 15 foot. It's quite a bit smaller than what you would find as a usual billboard off-premise sign that is in somewhat neighboring areas over off of that stretch of 480, actually all up and down 480, you'll find these billboards. Billboards are typically 14 feet by 48 feet, which is roughly 672 square feet. Our sign is quite a bit less. So that's been taken into consideration. We've tried to keep the variance at an absolute minimum based on that size to make sure we still do have adequate visibility and you're able to discern the message as you travel the freeway. You've got 8 lanes of traffic between east and westbound 480 traffic. So the size of the lettering on there for absolute roofing that you'll see come up is in the neighborhood of about 6 foot height for the main characters, 5 to 6 foot. And that gives good visibility as you're traveling at those speeds. When you start getting much smaller than that, it starts to distract or become difficult to discern the messages. The sign height variance is running at 60 feet because you have a 30 plus foot depression where the sign pole location starts from grade to get to berm level of the freeway, the adjoining freeway. You're at roughly a 35 feet drop. So the idea is to make sure we have the sign up high enough to obviously be discerned from both east and west. And for this type of application, the code really doesn't recognize what we found in other cities that have neighboring highway junctions where there's latitude leniency and different rules and sizing for those based on conditions of highway traffic. So your application of the current code runs at 25 feet of height and a 50 total square foot sign, which if you're driving down Pearl Road or you're driving down a regular artery, be it retail, commercial, industrial at 35, 40 miles per hour, it would make 0 sense to put a 150 square foot by 60 foot tall sign. The application of the code currently is really related to those type of applications and not looking at the unusual experience or basically the site conditions and topography. Have you had a chance to get the email over to them or no?
So John, explain to me the plan view that we're looking, or the elevation view that we're looking at right now has just absolute roofing on it.
Correct.
So what additional copy is going to be on the sign?
What you're going to have is you're going to have a good sized logo segment. So that logo to the left now gets stacked above absolute roofing and the lettering below it. And then below that is basically a construction Inc.
So there's
constricting
no
it.
contact information, there's no
No.
website, there's no phone number, it's just actually the logo?
Yes, exactly what you see in that depiction, just rearranged in a more stacked version so that we eliminate a lot of that upper and lower loft space.
So what are you doing here? You're just trying to get name recognition then?
Well, we can let Chris speak to that.
I mean, it looks like it's just branding. You're not trying to drive customers to the business?
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I do have, I was wondering if we can get clarification before we go any further. They're talking about an interchange. They would like to have the sign to direct them from the interchange. There is a distance that the code allows. I'm sorry, it's not in the write-up.
Mhm.
Mr. Riccardi is on the phone. I don't know if he could give us, I believe he could give us the distance from the interchange. I believe it's 600 feet, and this applicant is over that. I think he's approximately 1,000 feet away when we were looking at it
Okay.
internally. So the code does allow the directional business signage when it is a certain distance away from an interchange, if that makes sense. You have to
Okay.
be close to an interchange.
What interchange?
If Mr. Riccardi could just clarify if I have that correct.
This is Richard Riccardi. Section 350.09 does allow a freeway interchange sign when you are within 660 feet of the nearest freeway exit ramp. This is not. So it could be reviewed either way as a freeway interchange sign that doesn't meet the zoning code, or as a freestanding sign that doesn't meet the zoning code. Either way, the variance is not allowed. I mean, either way, it would need a variance to be erected as proposed.
Okay.
I mean, we don't allow, there has to be a limit on these freeway interchange signs, or everyone along the highway that doesn't meet that distance requirement from an exit or entrance ramp could put one up. And it would be like having a continuous line of billboards, and cropping out of, not next to the highway, but actually from inside the neighborhoods. So it doesn't meet, either way, it doesn't meet the zoning code. Thank you.
As I recall, it's very similar to a request that we had for signage in the eastern side of 90 for eastbound 90. So it reminds me of that case. Okay, thank you, Mr. Riccardi. That clarifies some things. And John, just to reiterate, the topography, you were indicating that you've got a 30-foot drop for that, what looks like a retention basin, to get to the graded berm. Is that correct? So you're trying to compensate for the height for that 30-foot topo drop?
That is correct. That's the necessity for the height of the sign.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does anyone else from the project team want to speak? All right, I'll go to Ms. Sedlock now.
Thank you very much. Melissa Sedlock, Jefferson Puritas, West Park CDC. We are against this variance, as is the council person. We have worked very hard to reduce the amount of billboard clutter in the neighborhood and on the highway. The only signs we have the only signs we have allowed to go up are a digital sign that replaced that. In lieu of that going up, several signs were taken down throughout the neighborhood. We see no reason to have an individual, the precedent of having an individual business put up a billboard essentially on the highway. All it does is create visual clutter and distract from the view.
Great, thank you. City planning?
Hello, Xavier Bay, Senior Assistant City Planner in the zoning section, representing city planning. We also would recommend now this project, based off of the grounds that Mr. Riccardi mentioned, you know, if you do permit a lot of this sign on the freeway, it really does lead to a lot of clutter, of signage along the freeways. It does look like there's an opportunity for potential, leasing of nearby billboards to this location. So maybe that would be a better alternative. There's also a section of the code that permits, I believe, a general industry zoning districts to have rooftop signage. So that might be another option that this group could look at. That being said, we would deny the as proposed.
Okay. Board, any questions or comments? All right.
May we still speak, or are we?
If you would like to make another comment, go ahead.
Sure. Chris, would you have any feedback that would be valuable for the board today?
Yeah, denying the application for the variance for the signage for the building prevents us from properly identifying our business that is located in there. And though I'm the owner of Camus Properties, I'm also the owner of Absolute Roofing and Construction. And we've had a lot of issues with people saying, "Where are you?" And since we're located in a very unique area of the city in the industry, it's hard for us to put any signage on our building with any visibility at all. We're located in an industrial area at the end of a residential street. And that's the reason why we wanted the sign, was for that purpose. We didn't go with any type of proposed digital signage underneath it. We didn't want to cause a distraction for drivers. This sign was simply to identify the business where it is located. And the reason for the height, again, was simply because of where we're located off of the freeway. The topography drops right there near the bridge. I disagree that it would add to any type of clutter at all. We are a dedicated business to the area and to the community, and we intend to stay there for a long time, and we were hoping that we can have this done. We have been saving for a sign of this magnitude by the freeway for quite some time in hopes that we were able to get this done. I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Camus. My question to you, sir, is did you have any conversation with the CDC, the council person, or the city planner for your area in the process of designing this and seeking any kind of guidance before you came before us?
No, ma'am. I contacted Brilliant Electric Sign Company and asked them about the possibility of a sign and what type of sign we might be able to erect for our business. And I left it up to Brilliant Electric Sign to handle it from there. I'm not a sign expert, and so that's why we went with the professionals to see what we can do in order to identify our business.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, you do not have the support of your council person. You don't have the support of your CDC, and consequently, you also don't have the support of city planning. Xavier also noted some other opportunities for signing that might be a better utilization for you to promote your business. So with that being said, I'm going to open it up to my board I'll entertain a motion at this point.
Madam Chair, after hearing testimony from the appellant, the city, and the CDC, I move that we deny calendar number 23-114.
Do I have a second?
Board Member Holzer, I second.
Thank you. Ms. Kukla, will you call the roll, please?
Sure. Ms. Wilson?
Deny.
Ms.
No.
Holzer?
Yes.
Ms. Roca?
Yes.
Ms. Bates?
Yes.
Calendar number 23-114 is denied. It'll be ratified next week, and then we will send the appellant a letter. Just for the record, Madam Chair, my understanding is that Ms. Wilson was voting for the motion. Is that correct? We should
Yes.
could have her confirm.
Correct, yes. Ms. Wilson, that is correct, right?
This is the problem with being new and being called first. So I agree with the other board members in that I would deny, so I probably should have said yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the motion's been denied. And,
Decision will be ratified next week.
right, so we'll ratify you next week and send out a letter. I would suggest that you contact your CDC and your council person, Mr. Camus, and perhaps a marketing person.
Yes, ma'am. Your advice is taken. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you. All right, next case, Ms. Holster, 23-116.
Got it. Our next case is calendar number 23-116. This is at 288 Overlook Park Drive. Nancy Prudick, owner, proposes to erect an awning over an existing concrete front patio in an A1 one-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Roca for the oath.
I will begin with individuals on the call. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply with I do, state your name and your address.
I do, Paul Began, Began Architectural Design, 15703 Madison.
I do, Nancy Prudick, 288 Overlook Park Drive, Cleveland, Ohio.
Did
you guys?
No, back to you, Madam Chair.
All right. Could we have the history of the property, please?
Sure. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our records administration, we found that in 1922, the permit was issued to erect a two-story dwelling and a garage. And in the records administration office, we also found that in 1966, an addition was erected to establish a breezeway to the garage. And then there's nothing in the more recent history, and there are no variances on, oh, I apologize. For the breezeway, they did acquire a variance, and that was in 1966, in calendar 66-31. Thank you.
1966 was a breezeway. And I'm getting a tickle in my throat, so excuse me. Excuse me. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting an area variance from the awning requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result or will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you. Mr. Began, I assume you're going to be the spokesperson.
You're muted.
Paul, you're muted.
Thank you very much. Yes,
It's
Madam Chair.
Monday.
Thank you very much.
Oh, he's muted again.
Paul, you slip back into mute.
All right, hopefully this won't do that again.
All right.
Let's, this particular project is to put a roof over an existing patio that is in front of the house. You could see in the pictures here. So there's a concrete patio to the left side of the front stoop that is there. I don't know when the patio was built. Looking at the age, it's probably been there for 15 or 20 years or so, from my point of view. So the project is really just to put a roof over this patio that's there. It is extending a little bit over the edge of the patio, and really that's for a construction item. So that we don't have to tear up the existing patio to put in the footers for the supports for the roof on top of it. You can see from the drawings that are there before you, the intent for the design to tie it into the stoop and extend it to the edge of the house over that existing patio.
So how far out are you going, Paul, from the front edge of the patio to sink the footers?
About 3 feet to allow room. So there's a current walkway that goes from the stoop to the driveway in front of the patio that will be replaced there. You can't really see it. It looks like it's covered over with dirt and stuff like that. But the owner currently walks from the front door to the sidewalk through that area. That area will be paved at a lower level, kind of same level as the front walk and the driveway. But that gives us the opportunity to, again, put the footers for the support post for the roof covering without having to interfere with the existing patio.
So the front walk and the new walkway in front of the patio, are going to be at grade level, and the patio looks like they're pavers. That's going to stand proud of that then as well. Is that the plan?
Yes.
Okay, so it'll be a covered walk and also covering the existing patio.
That is correct.
Okay, all right. I think that helps us have an understanding of the intent of use here. All right. Board, any questions?
Just want to make sure I understand, Mr. Began. So the need for the variance, the 11 feet that you are proposing, 11 feet 8 inches, is so you have the footers in front of the current concrete pad, and you don't have to demo the pad to put the footers in. Is that correct?
That is correct, right? So to access the patio right now, the owner comes down the front steps and then walks in front of the patio, and then steps up onto that patio. So that current method to reach the patio is existing right there. So the supports are out a little bit farther so that walkway can still occur.
I see. Okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Is that clear to the other board members? Everybody got that? Okay. All right. We have the letter. Ms.
Yes,
Coupon?
Madam Chair, we have a support letter from Councilman Polensek. The letter states, as councilman representing the Cleveland's 8th Ward, I'm writing this letter Board of Zoning Appeals pertaining to calendar number 23-116 for the property located at 288 Overlook Drive, who is Ms. Prudick, who is appealing for relief from the strict application of the stated code section. In this case, as long as the awning size, features and color fits the architecture and nature of the property and the rest of the street, he has no objections with the installation of a front patio awning that stretches out further from Ms. Prudik's home than the codified ordinances allow. The location of this home near the lake dictates the use and the need for such awning. Sincerely, Michael D. Valenti, Ward 8. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Prudick, did you have anything you'd like to add?
I just want to say that it would be really nice to sit on my patio when it's raining outside. So I'd really appreciate your support, and
Okay.
I really appreciate your considerations.
All right, thank you. City planning?
Saber Bays, representing city planning. We would recommend approval. This canopy isn't going much further out than the existing stoop is already there. As well as the addition of the council's support, we would recommend approval.
All right, great. I'll entertain a motion, board.
Madam Chair, after hearing testimony from the appellant today and the city as well, I move that we approve calendar number 23-116.
A second, please.
Second?
That's Ms. Wilson. Awesome.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Coulon, the roll, please.
Thank you. Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Roca,
Yes.
Ms. Bates.
Yes.
Calendar number 23-116 is granted. It'll be ratified next week and we will send the appellant a letter.
Thank you very much for your consideration. Have a good morning.
Thank you so much.
Good luck with the project. All
Thank
right.
you.
Ms. Holzer, next case, 23-118.
Our next case is calendar number 23-118. This is at 820 College Avenue. Sally Banks LLC owner proposes to erect an 1,100 square foot building addition to an existing non-conforming bar/restaurant in a C1 general retail business district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Roca for the oath.
I'll start with those on the call. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply with I do, state your name and your address.
I do. Corey Reardon, Executive Director at Tremont West Development Corporation, 2406, Professor.
Anyone else on the call? Anyone in person? Oh.
Step forward, please. Have a seat at the table.
Morning.
Morning. My name is Paul Jones.
The right
full-
hand.
I swear
I do, your name and your address.
I do. Paul Jones, 39075 Shady Bridge Road, Levite, Ohio, 44094.
Thank you.
Okay, and your role, Mr. Jones?
I am the operating partner at the Treehouse
Okay.
property.
Okay, history of the property, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In our Records Administration Office, we found that in 2004, a permit was issued to erect a store, dwelling, and hall. There are two variances on file in calendar number 95-201, and this was effective in January of 1996. Mr. Lenahan, owner, appealed from the decision of the Commissioner of Buildings for permission to convert to cafe bar on the first floor of the 27 by 50 two-story stores and suite building located in the same zoning, the current zoning. There are no conditions placed on this variance, Madam Chair, and again, the effective date was January 22nd, 1996. Oh, and I should also state that this was contrary to the parking requirements at that time. I don't see a number of parking spaces.
So the variance, there was a variance for parking as well?
Yes, that is a parking variance in this case. Yes, in calendar 95-201, the issue with the parking, the lack of parking.
I'm sure it was.
And then
In the 90s.
we have a calendar number, also another one in calendar number 10-227. This was effective May 23rd, 2011. Variance was granted to add live entertainment to existing bar tavern, and for a variance to allow removal of parking spaces that have been converted to an outdoor patio, and contrary to section 3349.02, where existing parking facilities in all use districts shall not be voluntarily reduced below the requirements in said chapter. It goes on to state that bar, tavern, restaurant with live entertainment use is required to provide the accessory off-street parking in the amount of 3 times the gross floor area, and no parking lot was planned at that time. And the variance to allow reduced distance for a bar to entertainment as required under section 347.12, and relief of the strict application of the landscaping requirements under sections 352-08 through 12 for a 10-foot wide landscape strip, providing 75% year-round capacity. This variance was granted with several conditions. Number one, the appellant signed a contract and will maintain compliance in their participation with the neighborhood-wide valet parking plan, which is administered by the Tremont West Development Corporation, for an allocation of 25 parking spaces required to comply with the minimum requirements of the variances requested for expansion of use as entertainment and removal of 4 spaces from the site. And that expanded use of putting 2 patios depicted in the drawing is permitted with the understanding that volume of outdoor speakers or sound devices on the patio will be kept at an audible level that does not disturb the surrounding residential inhabitants. Number 3, the use of outdoor patio speakers or sound devices will be discontinued at 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 10 p.m. on Friday and Saturday as well. Number 4, allowing live entertainment inside the building itself and granting the variance of the landscaping based upon the conditions presented in the drawing submitted on February 2011 that includes the dimensions of the site. Madam Chair, that's the extent of the conditions here, and again, that was granted and ratified on May 23rd, 2011. And that's all that I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
There's a colorful variance history for this
A lot of
property.
conditions there.
Yeah. Legal standard, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance and an area variance from the parking requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you. All right. To you. With your colorful history.
Right? Yeah, there's a lot of
And
history
here
to
you
this
are
film.
again.
Here I am again.
Another decade, another variance.
Would you like our proposed plan? Or-
Yes.
Okay.
Let us know what you'd like to do.
So we want to cover, there's actually 2 sections of that patio. So the first section right behind the building, we want to enclose that and wrap it around where that lean-to that you saw in the first picture was.
Mhm.
And enclose all that in.
As a permanent
structure. Correct.
So a full-on addition to the building.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
just so we could use it all year round. And then that side area is really important to us because deliveries all come in that side way. It's at the bottom of the steps there. That's the main way out to the patio from the kitchen. The kitchen's on the second floor, so it's.
Oh,
it's
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a challenge, but.
Very New Yorky.
Yeah, well, we're dealing when we were dealing with a lot of space issues. That
Yeah.
was really the only place we could put it.
Yeah,
so,
you're at a premium spot there. Yeah.
So, and then we wanted to incorporate the same exterior siding, so it'd be like the brick to kind of match, to kind of wrap it all in.
Mhm, so it's cohesive.
Yes. So most of it would be, the back section there would be seating with garage doors opening up to make it still patio use. And then it'd be covered, but it'd still be
Like
seating.
regular lifting garage
Yes,
doors?
correct. And then in the middle, there'd be two doors in the back and then the fireplace, a dual facing fireplace.
Okay,
For the rest of the patio and then from the inside, you can see that. So,
yeah, I figured there'd have to be a fireplace. Do we have, I'm interested in those garage doors. What are they gonna look like?
we would clear,
Okay,
clear paints. Yeah.
all right, there we go. All right. So rather industrial, architectural looking. Metal roofing?
Correct.
Okay. All right, is that it?
That's the plan.
Okay.
Speak to us about the parking since that's what your variance is for.
Okay, so we do have a lot across the street at 811 that we, yes, that's our current parking lot there. We do have occupancy for the patio currently as it is. So, but covering it, making it a permanent structure, I guess triggered a new parking requirement. So that's.
So you had in, going back to 1996, you had the variance, which included the contract for the parking. Right, so have you maintained that, or is this
Yeah.
a different contracted parking?
Oh, for the
valet plan.
The
For the
valet.
valet, okay,
So that no longer
exists, okay, in this neighborhood,
correct.
okay.
So the parking spaces outside your business, they're just first come, first serve?
Yes.
Anyone who can park there?
There's signs for treehouse parking, so that, but yeah, that's.
Okay.
They're designated for, specifically for treehouse.
I see.
On the street?
No, in the lot across.
In the lot across
Lot.
the street,
And
okay.
then on the street, it just.
The street is,
anyone
yeah,
can-
it's.
Free for all.
comfort, yeah.
Never available is what it is. I was just there yesterday.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I'm not sure if I heard correctly, but does the applicant own that parking lot?
is it owned or are you
Yes, it's
leasing?
owned.
It's owned?
It's owned,
So you own that piece?
yes.
And how many spaces did you say?
There are 12.
Okay.
And your patrons know they can park there?
Okay. Any other questions, board? At this time?
I do have a couple more questions.
All right, Ms. Rope is on a roll.
So you're adding just four seating areas? Is that to the new addition? Is that what I'm seeing on the plans?
So there's 6 there. There's
Okay.
2 tables there also. So there'd be 6 tables. Right now, there's 7 tables out there, but we would have to move one for egress, for
Right.
for access out to the existing patio and then the fireplace. So we had to.
Okay,
eliminate
Right.
and then
let's
will
see.
people be able to, am I seeing no, I'm not seeing a door there, never mind. That's just windows on the
Yeah, on the
left-hand side
the
of the property.
professor side,
Right.
yeah, there's 4 windows that kind of match these, the other side.
Okay,
There we go.
And this is not a variance question, but your mural is very famous. Are you going to be covering that up?
So what we'd like to do is, we're going to have to, but we'd like to redo it. So it would still be on the top part of it, before the roof side. And, we also talked about putting something on that side of the building. But that was gonna be provided the neighbors would be okay with it. But I've not heard back from them on that situation.
Great. And Madam Chair, I'd love to hear from the CDC on the parking.
Right. You were on a roll, so I wanted to let you go. Yeah. All right. So, Mr. Reardon from the CDC.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. I could go through 11 years of parking, but I'll save the time and just say that this did go to Block Club and was reviewed and approved enthusiastically, as well as the Economic Development Committee of Tremont West Development. I will say that the valet parking still exists in the neighborhood. It is now as needed per the business. And so they operate partially with Bourbon Street Barrel Room and Dante. So those that need the valet for their customers, Treehouse generally is not a heavy valet user, so they no longer participate in that and provide parking. This is an existing condition in the neighborhood, is that there are very, very few parking lots. So we try not to hold that against the businesses.
Good to know it still exists, though, just in case. All right. Did we have any communication from the council person?
No,
Okay. Mr. Reardon, did you have any conversation with him?
Yes, I apologize. Didn't mean to interrupt. We send him all of the information. He weighs in on the particularly the ones that are controversial in the neighborhood. We gave him an update on this and he did not weigh in, but a lot of times we consider that weighing in by staying quiet.
I would understand that. Okay. All right, other board members, do you have any other questions or comments? All right, city planning.
Hello, at Seder Bay, representing city planning. We would recommend approval of this project. The seating depicted in this image is already present. And as they stated, they do have that lot across the street that helps with the congestion coming in or traffic coming in. Yeah, I mean, there's opportunity for street parking throughout the Tremont neighborhood. As you know, it might be tight in some areas, but it is good to hear that they do have that lot across the street still. On those grounds, we recommend approval.
Thank you. All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Can we have the appellant just confirm that there will be no more additional seats being established in these areas?
No more additional.
No additional seating, just for the record. He may have already said it, but.
Interior or exterior?
In the new area. In these areas.
Okay.
Oh, yes, what is existing is what's existing. We wouldn't be adding any more seating.
So you're gonna hold firm at four tops and two tops?
Yes.
And anything outside?
There is a patio in the back of that,
Mm-hmm.
which we would keep existing without adding more seats to that as well.
Okay, all right. Does that answer your question?
Thank you. Just
All
wanted
right,
to have that for the
thank you.
record.
All right, I'll entertain a motion now, board.
Based on the testimony that we've heard today, I move to approve calendar number 23-118.
Thank you. Second, please.
Second, this is Arlisha Wilson.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Ms. Kukla, call the roll, please.
Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Roca,
Yes.
Ms. Day.
Yes.
Calendar number 23-118 is granted. It'll be ratified next Monday and we will send the appellant a letter.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for your time.
When do you plan to start construction?
Probably in the fall after patio season.
Yeah,
Let that die down.
yeah. So November,
October, probably late October, early
late
November.
October, early November.
Hopefully get done before St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Do you don't do a big football business?
We used to, and that's, but it was more of a flag football kind of league that was in Cleveland for a long, long time.
Okay.
It had, in the early nineties, kind of put us on the map, but, it kind of has died out since then, so.
It moved, I think it moved from
It moved from
Fremont to
Clark
Brookside.
Fields over to by the zoo.
Yeah,
right? By
Brookside.
Oh, that's enough of a change to,
Yeah, kind of just
yeah,
killed any business that we had because of it, so.
yeah,
But no, just regular NFL and stuff more stays downtown, so.
yeah, it does.
We have people that live in the neighborhood that are either going to the games or coming home. Games
Yeah.
usually, but
So are you gonna have TV outside? Okay, all right.
yeah,
Just asking in case our alum group wants to come by.
come on down.
Best of luck to
All
you.
right, thank you.
All right.
Good luck reworking that mural.
Yeah, there's an opportunity there. If you're doing metal roof, you might be able to just go onto them. You know what I
haven't
mean?
even thought about that.
Yeah.
As far as if we have enough smoke, maybe it can still.
Yeah, because it probably isn't gonna, yeah, just a thought.
All right, keep it in mind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on with business. Calendar number 23-120. Ms.
Next
Holzer.
case is calendar number 23-120. This is at 1407 West 117th Street. 1407 West 117th Street LLC proposes to erect a new urgent care medical center in a C3 local retail business district and a pedestrian retail overlay district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. With that, I will hand it over to Ms. Roca for the oath.
Thank you, Ms. Holzer. I'm going to start with those on the call. I'm swearing in all who are present for this case. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply with I do, state your name and your address.
I do. Dave Sambor with Rare Design Studio, 4300 West Streetsboro Road, Richfield, Ohio.
I do.
Oops, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
I do. Jeff Manellis, 2415 East Camelback, Phoenix, Arizona. I'm with the ownership group who owns the property.
And Tony Coyne, 1001 Lakeside Avenue, we're land use counsel to the property owner.
Anyone in person? Back to you, Manfred.
Okay, history of the property.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We didn't find much on this property. We did find that it was in general retail at the beginning of the enactment of the code in 1929. In 2008, it was changed to local retail business and placed in the pedestrian retail overlay district. We were unable to find any records in our records administration file. There are no variances on file, and in the more recent history, we see that there are food licenses issued starting in 2017. And that's all that I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Legal standard, please. Mary, you might be muted.
Yes, thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting an area variance from the main building setback requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you. Mr. Coyne,
Yes.
I'm
I'm going to defer.
Person?
Yeah. Yes, I'll defer to Mr. Sambor to take you through the site plan. And
Okay.
at the end, I'll address just an issue that came up sort of at the 11th hour that has to do with an adjacent property owner. But we're
Okay.
working on it. We've communicated with the councilwoman about it too. So I'll let Mr. Sambor do the site plan review.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Thank you. So this property is listed, it's in a pedestrian retail overlay district. We scrolled down, I did provide quite a few drawings here from our previous submissions. We've been working hand in hand with the Design Review and Planning Commission on this site, knowing that it is a good gateway project to the city, and we're dealing with a pedestrian retail overlay. With specifics to the setbacks along Detroit Avenue, as you can see, this is an odd-shaped site with more than that 90-degree turn we have at the intersection. One of the discussions we had was about what does it mean for the pedestrian retail overlay and wanting a better pedestrian connection to the, sorry, I'm on, I'm sorry, I can't, I'm gonna call the city right now. If you could, yes, please. Okay. Sorry about that. So what you can see here is we worked with them, and the push was, let's have a better connection pedestrian to Detroit Avenue as far as the intent of the pedestrian retail overlay. So as you notice, there is a bus stop there located on Detroit. And what we've provided is a outdoor seating plaza area that becomes close proximity to Detroit Avenue. So that location was the preferred location. So we have a 9-foot, roughly 9'6", 9'8" setback at that position. And then you'll notice too, in order to enhance this other area in this gateway, we do have ample landscape plan, which you'll see following here, that gives a much better presence along Detroit Avenue. And this was through multiple meetings with the design review, how we can best enhance and meet the intent of the pedestrian retail overlay at this particular site.
So that seating area adjacent to the bus stop, is that, it looks like it's tiered?
Yes, there's steps coming up. We provided both the steps, and we also have a ramp access from Detroit. If you see over on the right-hand side of that previous site plan.
Okay.
The
tiers,
building,
are the tiers going towards the building, or?
they step up towards the building.
Okay, all right.
The building's approximately a little over 2 foot higher than the existing sidewalk of Detroit, just based on the other site constraints that we had.
Okay.
It's
So
hard to
versus
see
just
that.
adding the steps, that's why we added the ramping there as well.
Okay. All right. And is there a, I'm familiar with this particular intersection and the heavy use of that bus stop. So I'd like to see a bike rack included on the plan if it's not. And also trash receptacles.
Well, we do have trash receptacles up on the, if we go to the landscape plan, we do have benches and trash receptacles up in the plaza area. So we weren't doing any improvements in the public sidewalk areas.
Right.
So I'm not sure even as far as where a bike rack would be appropriate. Just trying to understand that with the private property up with the receptacles and benches up in the plaza area on the private property. I'm not sure where would be an appropriate spot for a bike rack there.
Yeah, I'd like you to find one.
Okay.
Because we're very frequently, the people using that bus line are using active transit in combination with the public transit. And the bikes get loaded on the front of the bus. So it would be something, it should be a situation where this particular site is sensitive to the active transit users.
May I ask, are those racks typically in the public right away?
No, they would be on the property. They would be, because I would anticipate that you're going to have a lot of pedestrians and active transit users, given the neighborhood and your location to, because West 117th is also a major bus line, as well as Detroit Avenue. So you're right at an intersection where there's a lot of transfers from one bus to the other. and people with strollers, people on
Okay.
bikes, moving their bikes from one vehicle to another, that sort of thing. So that's something,
Right,
and it's
okay.
just something that we like to see included in projects as we move towards, greener transportation and those people, and being sensitive to those people that use active transit.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but those are a couple points. Continue, please.
No, I think that pretty much covers it. Again, the setback had to do with wanting to create this public space and the angle of the particular intersection. And again, with design review, they like the level of landscaping as this gateway type look as far as how we dealt with that additional setback along Detroit. But we did keep that setback within the code requirements along the along 117th.
Great. So that entrance it's sort of towards the rear by that, by the seating area, that's going to be the main entrance, right?
Yes, the corner, basically that northeast corner is
Mhm.
the two doors entering into a lobby area, which is the main entrance of the building.
Okay, and I think you mentioned an ADA ramp, is that correct?
Yes, what you'll see there just from the site, like we're at grade on the site, but just to get from Detroit, the grading through the parking lot really is steeper. So we added a ramp access to get directly from the Detroit sidewalk up to the plaza area.
Okay, and then where's your ADA parking is right there by the front door then?
Correct.
Okay.
And I just want to confirm, are you removing the curb cut on West 117th?
No, the both current curb cuts would remain as they are.
Okay. I see it now. It was what, we didn't go far enough
Yeah.
down.
Xavier zoomed in for us, but then we lost some of it, so.
And so just to be clear too, we are fine with the bike racks. What we can find an appropriate location up front for the bike racks.
Great, thank you. Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes,
I do have a letter from the council person.
yes,
If I could read it into the record.
please.
Madam Chair, she had originally requested a postponement last week due to a shared parking agreement with the prior property business owner, Pizza Hut and Brothers Lounge. She was requesting the postponement in order for the two parties to speak on that and possibly come up with another agreement.
Okay,
But then I received this letter later on Friday that in lieu of the prior request for postponement, she would like to recommend conditional approval pending a meeting between the applicant and the tenant, University Hospitals Cleveland and Brothers Lounge. Thank you. That's it.
And Madam Chair, I can address that. I did talk to council.
I'm sorry, who's, Mr. Coyne?
Yeah,
We
I'm
don't
sorry.
have you in person, so you have to
I'm
state
sorry.
your name for us.
Yeah, sorry. Tony Coyne here, for the record. Again, I'm land use counsel to the applicant. I did have a conversation with Councilwoman Spencer about the project and that was raised. But we've agreed to try to facilitate a meeting with University Hospitals Cleveland Well Street, which is doing the urgent care facility. It'll be managed by University Hospital Cleveland. This is an important project for the community. This is obviously an area where there's a lot of fast food. This is an upgrade as to what's there. Demolition actually is commencing as we speak. And what came up is some understanding that there may have been in the past some sort of a parking agreement with Brothers Lounge. We're unaware of that, but we're willing, and I'm going to help convene a meeting to at least discuss that. I can't make any promises or guarantees on that, but Brothers Lounge has to reach out to the property owner, and I'll try to facilitate a discussion. Obviously, any kind of parking or reciprocal parking license would require, some insurance, possible rent, possibly an understanding about upkeep, since that is a lounge, bar, nightclub, and this is a brand new urgent care healthcare facility that's going to be built to, current modern standards. So we've agreed though to facilitate a discussion and see if we could do something. But it will be up to the tenant to be able to work that out. But I'll do my best to try to set something up. And we've agreed to do that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Coyne. What are going to be the hours of operation for this facility?
I can say that I don't know that that's been determined for sure yet right now, because it's something that I think they may want to see how the business operates, the kind of needs that the community has. So I don't think that is yet determined. And that could be a factor on the parking as well, but we're still working on that.
Right, and that was my thinking as well, with regard to the parking needs. The drugstore across the street, I believe, is 24 hours. And being that it is also at the intersection of two major public transit arteries or lines, there may be high demand for this. So it makes me think that might impact conversation with anyone wanting to arrange parking. So, all right. All right, we'll just focus on the actual item that's before us today, which is the setback.
And Madam Chair, just one other point I wanted to note too. This part of the design was suggested by city staff and the CDC because of the pedestrian overlay. So it is something that the applicant is trying to accommodate the city request on, because I understand how the PRO works, and they're a little bit of a conflict with the PRO and the setback and sometimes just good functional design too.
Right, exactly. All right, anyone else from the project team wish to make statement? Okay.
Madam
City
Chair,
Clerk?
I have a question.
Ms. Roca has a question, go ahead.
So to the appellant, it looks like there are, and correct me if I'm wrong here, 2 mature trees currently in the pedestrian area near the bus stop that shades the bus stop. Are you or I guess more than 2? Are you planning to maintain those trees, or are you replacing them, or maybe they're not there anymore and I'm mistaken?
Well, any trees, we weren't doing anything outside of the property line. So anything existing in the public right of way, which again, I'm seeing in that picture there,
I guess they're not there anymore.
Yeah, they're not there.
Right. The ones that still remain are the ones that are along 117th, and those are going to remain.
Those are going to remain. Okay.
Those were part of them.
Correct. The ones on 117th shall remain.
And then can we go back to the landscaping plan? I just want to see what they're putting on Detroit. Just one second.
So are those flanking the curb cut on Detroit? What is specified? It looks like those are going to be larger trees.
Can you just explain a little bit more what you're doing there with the landscaping?
Right. I believe if you look at those, again, we do have the larger trees, those ACHWs, and I apologize, I don't have my landscape architect on the call, but if we go to the next page, I believe we do have the material list. These are larger trees that will go to 14.
There we go.
That's what. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. Oh, there.
Xavier.
You're
too speedy.
Okay, can you just confirm for us which trees are going where?
I don't think do you have that knowledge, sir?
You don't know.
No, I can, well, this site list does list it out. I think you need to pan a little bit to the right, and you do see the larger, you'll see that designation, which you saw in the previous plan.
So acers are Japanese maples.
Right.
Sorry, I'm getting back to my plan itself here so I can look at
Yeah,
my
well,
screen. a little
the
bit.
reason I'm bringing this up is because right now, currently, the site is very bare and not pedestrian friendly. And I just want to make sure we have a full understanding of how you're improving it with regard to the fact that it's on a major transit line and you're going to have a lot of pedestrians. You already have a lot of pedestrians in that area. So, you know, is landscaping going to be appropriate?
Right. Well, in this area too, again, we work with Peggy Brown, who does a lot in the city of Cleveland, and really focus was on very hardy plants, very pedestrian friendly. And you see the extent of plantings. This is a very expensive landscape plan for this type of project, but felt it was appropriate to kind of add that level based on the pedestrian nature of this. That's something that Peggy does do a lot of work again in these Cleveland areas where we're trying to really connect with pedestrians. So yeah, we did provide the much larger shade trees, but also good, hardy ground cover in those areas. We also, per the city design review request, is we made sure we didn't run that all the way to the corner. If you see back in our plan, we do have a hard surface in the corner because from the pedestrian side, we noticed that people tend to cut that corner. So any landscaping would tend to get trampled. So we did pull back and add some more hardscape at the actual corner itself, just to address the kind of the common, just the normal traffic pattern that people take on that corner.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that extra clarification.
Xavier, could you go back to the pictures of the trees, please? Great, thanks. So, hornbeam, maple, and Japanese maple. So.
Yeah, I see them now.
Yeah, so, hornbeams are great because they're column, they'll go tall, but they don't have a widespread.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Are you good on that?
I'm good.
All right. Anything else? City planning, did we get to you?
So, save the day, city planning. If this project, as mentioned, has come before City Planning Commission, and before that, they actually did revise their plan to meet the PRO needs for that Planning Commission approval. So we were able to talk with the applicant to actually get the project to be more compliant to the code. That being said, with the plan before you, they received planning commission approval, and we recommend approval for this exception for PRO setback. Mainly because we were able to get that corner there closer to the right of way with patio for more active space.
Great, thank you. All right, so just to clarify, this is actually going to be a affiliated facility?
Yeah, yes. University
And
Hospitals Cleveland. Mhm.
Okay, and managed by a third party or?
Well, it'll actually be managed by University Hospitals Cleveland, as I understand, but University Hospitals doctors and staff, which will be
Okay,
but there's a development entity that's building the structure.
okay, got it.
And I
All
just,
right.
if I can, Madam Chair, just for the record too, and I couldn't hear the staff member clearly, but the landscape plan and site plan have been reviewed by local design review and planning commission and approved.
And approved.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we're just sensitive to it because we know the area and the needs of the
Yeah, I agree.
The transit passengers.
Agreed.
So we just and given this particular parcel, I think we can rest assured it's going to be high traffic.
Mhm.
So just want to look for anything that is going to be sensitive to users. All right. I don't think we have anything else. Other board members, you have any questions or comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion. I'm sure the new me may be doing it.
All right. Madam Chair, based on the testimony we've heard today from the appellant, the city, and also the commentary we received from the council person, I move to approve calendar number 23-120. And are we conditioning the hours of operation?
They have no hours of operation yet, so we're gonna leave that open. The only thing that I do wanna make sure we have in there, Mr. Coyne has agreed to attempt to facilitate a meeting between the property owners and Brothers Lounge. Is that correct, Mr. Coyne?
Yes.
All right, excellent.
All right, that's on the record then.
Yes.
So my motion stands.
All right, motion stands. I'll take a second.
Madam Chair, are we requesting any sort of updated site plan showing the bike rack, or are we just assuming the bike rack's gonna happen?
Good point, Ms. Holzer. I think just as a point of making sure we have it on record, when you have that bike plan on the site plan, or the bike rack on the site plan, if you would email a copy of that to Ms. Kukla, our secretary, so we have that on file, please.
Absolutely.
And Madam
Thank you.
Chair, I would just suggest that it be reviewed by staff so that staff supports the location.
Absolutely. All right. All right,
And I will second the motion.
okay. Thank
This
you,
is
Ms.
Board Member
Holzer, for
Holzer.
the question and the seconds. All right, Ms. Kukla?
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Ms. Roca,
Yes.
Ms. Babe.
Yes.
Madam Chair, will we hold this for ratification, or is this with the understanding that we'll get notifications out?
We'll move forward on good faith that they'll get it to us.
Madam Chair, calendar number 23-1120 is granted conditionally. It'll be ratified next Monday, and then we will send the appellant a letter.
Good luck with this project. I think it's going to be an asset to the neighborhood, so thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a good
Best of
day.
luck. Looking forward to seeing the improvements.
Okay,
How you doing?
last
Hi.
case of the day, Ms. Holzer, 23-082.
All right, our last case is calendar number 23-082. This is at 15432 St. Clair Avenue. Demetrius Davis proposes to pave the rear section of a property and use it for storage of equipment for grass cutting, snowplow, and a concrete company in a C2 local retail business district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record, of which there is one. This case was postponed from June 12th to allow time for the appellant to speak with the councilman and the city planner to consider site plan improvements. Testimony was taken at that time. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Roca for the oath.
All right, I will start with anyone on the phone. Swearing in all who are present for this case, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please raise your hand, reply with I do, state your name and your address.
I do, Charles Hubbard, 33330 Vine Street, East Lake, Ohio, 44095.
Is there anyone on the call for this?
He tried to get on, but he said he didn't have the need.
Okay.
Who was that?
Mr. Davis.
Oh, okay.
I see someone, Carmela Davis, that's not who we're.
No.
No. Okay.
Okay, we're good.
We're good.
We had testimony, previously.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I could jump in there.
Yeah.
We do not have an updated site plan that was requested from the last hearing. I'm
We
not
don't.
sure if we missed it, but we do not have one for the file.
Mr. Hubbard,
I
did you send it in?
I think I have something here for you. Would this be it?
That's probably it, but that needs to come to us.
Yes, Madam Chair, we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we should postpone it, or if you could explain to the board what.
Let me ask you this, have we had any communication from, Councilman Palenza?
Yes, we do have one, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Do you like me to read it? I can do that?
Do we need to do the legal standard?
Yes.
Yeah. Mary, if you'll read the legal standard for us, so we can move on.
Okay. Madam Chair, members of the board, appellant is requesting a use variance from the requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights. And that, wait a minute. And that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Great, thank you. All right.
Madam Chair, if you'd like me to read that.
Yes, let's go to that.
Thank you. This is dated July 7th. Councilman Palenza states since the original hearing date, which was postponed to allow the appellant time to speak with him, he has spoke with the appellant and met with him at the property to discuss the plans in detail. Councilman says he's in support of the plans. However, he told Mr. Davis he must adhere to the city code and the granted variance to the letter, and that what is agreed upon by BZA must be enforced by the Department of Building and Housing. He stated that this property at present is in disrepair. He has discussed this in the past with Mr. Davis. He has said in the past that there was high grass and weeds all over the property, and the storage of the equipment already on the property in the rear made it look as though it was a junkyard. Councilman Palenza states this cannot continue. Property in general is a source of continuous complaints to his office from residents of Evangeline Road. If Mr. Davis allows the property to go back to looking like this and does not adhere to the statutes of this variance and any other ordinance referring to the property, its appearance and or operation, he will request that the city cite Mr. Davis for violations and for being out of compliance with granting of the variance. He indicated to him that the concrete planter box in front must also be maintained at all times. The rear parking lot must be maintained free of junk and debris, and that a screening fence along Evangeline Road along the parking lot must be erected with the proper permits, and that an entrance gate be installed as well to secure the rear parking lot. In addition, there cannot be the parking of any vehicles on the sidewalk. He is supporting a small business struggling business in the Ward 8 community. However, they must be respectful to the community. Therefore, he is willing to support the variance to this appeal of the codified ordinances to allow for paving a section of the rear of the property for the continued use of the storage of equipment in this local retail business district. And it's signed Councilman Michael D. Palenza. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, but the revised site plan didn't get submitted to us, correct? And you have it on your
Yes, yes.
device?
And then I have, several recent pictures of the place being clean that Boxy told me to maintain.
Okay. Oh, that looks nice. I mean, if you're gonna do a landscaping business, you better be well
So we was
landscaped,
kind of
right?
stuck in the middle of doing stuff and not being approved and.
Right,
And as if you can look, it's been cleaned up. We're just waiting on a permit to pay.
okay. And what else oh, I see, we've got pictures of the landscape strip. The councilman's requesting a fence and a gate.
Yes,
All right, so, you're clear on what that needs to be. We will need a cut sheet, so a picture of the fence that you're planning to put in and the specifications. It will need to meet height and opacity
okay,
for this particular situation, and also the gate,
okay,
same. And they've got to be submitted,
okay.
all right? We'll make sure, are you able to email that, what you have
Yes,
from your,
I think so.
okay, all right. Will you help him, Xavier? We'll get you a little tech support here. Make sure we can make this happen.
It has the fence, like right
Okay.
here, and then right here it has the fence.
Yeah, we could try to send it, sort of put it on. Yeah. I don't know if you have it set up to go to your.
I don't know. I do work.
Whatever email account you have, like you could just sign in and then we could send it to my device and I can put it on the.
As I talked to the councilman, and basically he said there were only 1 or 2 neighbors on the street complaining. I have a good rapport with all the rest of the neighbors, but there's 1 or 2 that calls them all the time for every little thing.
Yeah.
But the people next door, across the street, directly next to me, have no complaints. They're very friendly, they speak. They say I'm the hardest working person they know. I'm working 7 days a week. I come there, I get the equipment, I go to work, I come back and pick the stuff up.
Yeah. Remind me again, how many employees you have?
3 to 4 part-timers.
3 to 4 part-time.
They're young.
Yeah, they're your
minority
labor.
male.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to keep them.
They're the guys with the guns. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
trying
the
to-
muscles. Shouldn't use Jim Slang, probably.
Trying to keep them, busy and out of trouble, keep them out,
And did you state your hours of operation and last time you were here?
Yeah.
They're usually between 8 a.m. to 7, but it varies on the work. Some days I have no work, so
Yeah.
I'm not even, I'll go.
And
down
then
there.
wintertime, are you plowing too?
Yes,
So in wintertime, you may start earlier.
no, wintertime, I'm not even really there.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna say 7 or 8 a.m. Let's just say 7 to 7.
Monday through, or 7 days a week?
Yeah, 7 days a week. We'll give him that, just, for winter time especially.
Yeah, wintertime, I'm plowing my accounts. I
Okay.
may pull there and put some salt, store some salt, bags of salt in the building,
Right.
but I'm not really there.
Are we gonna have any vehicles parked outside?
2 small dump trucks. Landscape trailers
How many?
in the rear. 2 to 3, they're not very big.
Okay, we'll say 3.
And sometimes, rental equipment, like if I rent a machine to do a job, I take it back within a day or 2, or, a few days, but it might just be there for a couple days.
Give me an idea of what kind of equipment.
Like, you know what an excavator is, a mini excavator, 35, or.
Like a Bobcat?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Nothing real big. I'm
Okay.
mostly,
And you're doing some concrete work, so you might have a concrete roller there sometimes.
yeah,
Okay,
most of the stuff can fit inside the building, but.
okay. Yeah, I think it would
trailer,
probably be safer, particularly with rental, right?
yeah.
Okay. I work in construction and building, so
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. We're,
Madam Chair, sorry to interrupt. Could we have the appellant confirm if there would be any materials stored or any dusty material?
Right.
uh,
You have any soil, gravel?
no. We'll leave it on the truck now,
All right, will it be covered on the truck?
yes.
All right,
The only thing we mainly have stored is, concrete forms, construction cones, pins, the metal.
yeah,
pins. But I got them in a box,
okay,
and pretty much that's it, maybe some, rebar. And everything that's stored is probably gonna be used for a job like coming up. I can't afford just to have stuff sitting around now.
Yeah. Right.
Not using it.
all right. So 3 to 4 part-time employees, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days, we're gonna give you for your hours. 2 small dump trucks, 3 landscape trailers, possibly a bobcat, a concrete roller, and some miscellaneous construction material. All right, anything else? Board questions, comments? Okay, city planning?
Looks like we actually had Ariel Washington raising her hand. She's the neighborhood planner for this area.
All right.
I'll let her go ahead.
Great. Ms.
Good morning,
Washington?
Good
You
morning,
might want to
everyone.
speak up just a smidge for us, please.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Ariel Washington with City
Thank you.
Planning. I am the neighborhood planner for the area, and I am also in support of this. However, I have not received those plans either, so this has not been before the Northeast Design Review, but I am in support of this.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ms. Washington.
Thank you.
Xavier, were you able to get everything from his?
This is the only plan I got out there.
Okay,
So I did actually want to get clarification. So, while I was looking for that, I'm sorry, did we already mention about the materials?
Yes.
Mhm.
Hey, I got that was in everything I. So through the support the project, the city council recommending approval based off the conditions as you stated, Madam Chair, with the height and opacity for the soon to be installed fence to meet the.
okay. So, we'll have the vote, but the conditions will be, I think you're clear on those because you met with the council person
Yes.
and he stated what he requests to be required
Yes.
in his letter. So it will be a fence to be erected at the appropriate height and opacity and an entrance gate, again, to meet the code for this particular area. You'll have 3 to 4 part-time employees. Your hours will be 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days a week. You'll have 2 dump trucks possibly parked outside, 3 to 4 landscape trailers parked outside, potentially. Also potentially a bobcat, a concrete roller, some other miscellaneous construction materials. And that should you have any soil, limestone screening material, gravel, anything of that nature, those will be kept on a truck, not stored on property, and those will be covered so as to not blow dust
Right.
into neighbors.
Yes.
All right, that's everything. Anybody else have any questions, comments, board?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt again. The fence might be an issue if it's all the way up to the sidewalk and he's proposing a solid board fence. As you can see, he's adjacent to a residential property and there's a driveway that runs parallel to the rear property line. So there will be a conflict there if it's a solid fence where a neighbor would be backing out into the road.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Mr. Hubbard.
Through the chair.
The councilman said he wants the fence to go along that guardrail. That house right there, that's their fence they have already. With the green stuff on it.
Oh.
The councilman, he specifically said a fence along the guardrail.
All right, so what?
There's an
Couldn't see
existing
what's
fence
behind.
by the house.
Yeah, that's already a fence already.
All right. So that's not a hedge, that's actually a fence.
Yes, that's a
on the
fence.
left there. And the councilman wants the fence behind the guardrail. Is that what
Along the
you're-
guardrail,
Along in front of the guardrail.
either way, in front or back.
All right.
As long as, see, he don't, you don't want people to be able to see the stuff. When they drive down the street, you don't want them to be able to look
Right.
over there to see.
Ms. Washington, you have any input on where the councilman wants fence by the guardrail? Do you have, input on if the fence should be in front or behind? And exactly what kind of fence that should be?
When it comes to design review, we can help him with that. But again, I would agree that the fence should have an opacity so someone can see through. I know the idea of having the fence is so someone cannot get to your materials and take them away. But I would be fine with the fence behind the guardrail. But since this is in a design review district, I would like to take this before the committee to make the decision.
Okay. Have you met with Mr. Hubbard? Ms. Washington?
Yes, he's come in the office, but again, we have not received a plan or anything to set him onto the agenda
Okay.
for a meeting.
Are you in office now so we could send him over after this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So that's you have another stop. Okay. And so to whomever is going to make the motion on this, we're going to add that it's going to go through the neighborhood design review process with Ms. Washington from City Planning facilitating that. With the fence to be determined. And then we'll have a submission of the cut sheet for the fence at that time. Okay, anything else, anyone? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Oy vey. I will do my best. Madam Chair, based on the testimony you've heard today from the appellant, the city planners, as well as communications from the council person, I move to approve calendar number 23-082 under the following conditions. And please correct me if I
You want me to
mistake.
just run down the list?
Sure.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna double team this motion here. So the conditions will be that a fence will be erected, an entrance gate will be erected, personnel will be limited from 3 to, I'm gonna give you up to 6 for part-timers. Hours will be 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days a week. Once again, with on property, there may be parked, stored overnight, 2 small dump trucks, 3 to 4 landscape trailers, possibly a bobcat, possibly a concrete roller, and miscellaneous construction materials. Should there be any soil, limestone screening, or gravel, they'll be in the trucks and covered. And also at the request of city planning, Mr. Hubbard will submit the cut sheets for said fence and entrance gate, and also an updated site plan, and that will be approved by the Neighborhood Design Review Committee.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so with that being said, I will take a second.
I will second. This is Ms. Wilson.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. When you're ready, Ms. Kukla.
Ms. Holzer,
Yes.
Ms. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. Broca,
Yes.
Ms. Day.
Yes.
Calendar number 23-082 is granted conditionally. Will we hold ratification until we receive the updated cut sheet for sure? And would you like to wait until we get comments back from design review, or are we accepting that the process will happen separate?
Ms. Washington, you anticipate that this will probably have smooth sailing through design review?
Yes, if all of the materials that you stated are submitted, the cut sheet, the plan, that the committee has everything that they need, this should go smoothly.
Okay, great. So, yes.
The next meeting is Tuesday, August 1st. The quicker you can get me the plans, that would be great. Those agendas are sent out tomorrow for 1
Mr.
week in
Hubbard's gonna
advance.
come to you, Miss Washington.
He's gonna come see
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Yeah, and he's our last case, so you'll be seeing him momentarily. All right?
Thank you.
Okay,
So we'll hold ratification until we receive at least just the cut sheet.
Yeah.
Showing what the fencing will look like. Once we receive that, we will ratify it the following Monday.
Okay.
And then we'll.
Thank you.
so as speedy as you can be on those things, we'll determine when you get ratified and we can move forward.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you so much.
So you got everything
Where
covered?
is she? What room does he need to go to?
Straight, she's straight out.
Okay, all right.
He knows, he's
Okay.
been there.
All right.
He can beat a path to that. Okay, so, so there you go. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And we'll look forward to seeing those cut sheets. And Miss Washington, you're in good hands, so she'll walk you through the process.
All right, thank you.
Okay?
Have a good day.
Good luck.
Take care.
All right. That ends our cases for today. We'll go to old business. Anything else besides the items that we have?
No, Madam Chair, I would just note that we have more than usual because we did not ratify any cases last week.
Right.
So we're ratifying them all today.
Okay, now that we have 4 members, we can go ahead and you want to explain why we didn't ratify? Just for the members that were absent?
Yes, Madam Chair, we only had 3 members last week, and Ms. Wilson had not voted on any of these, the cases 5 through 9. So we were not able to grant that due to not having a full quorum at that time.
Okay,
She was unable, as she was not present for the original.
right. So everybody clear on that? Okay, so we have items 1 through 9 without objection, board?
Without objection.
Without objection for, I guess, 5 through 9 for me.
Correct. And Ms. Wilson?
Without objection.
All right, thank you. 1 through 5 and 5 through 9. Okay, looks like there's nothing else.
That's it.
Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Thank you.